Hello, this is the Brothers Judah. I'm Joshua.
And I'm Jeremy.
And we have no idea what we're talking about today.
Not today. Well, this episode we might have some idea because last week there were two topics I wanted to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about the first one, and the second one we said we talk about today. So unless there's some other topic that you want to talk about, then maybe we could talk about that.
You want to refresh my memory?
Sure. I don't remember what the first topic was of last week, but I do remember that the second topic was phone usage and how much people use it. And there were a couple stories in my personal life that I wanted to tell.
All right.
Okay. So I guess one story is I had brought my son to a regular athletic class that he had. It was a couple times a week, and I'd bring him there. And this was back when he was younger, when he was 5. But I'd bring him there, and I'd be sitting there with all the parents, and all of the children would be in front doing the class. And I just remember every single class, I'd be sitting there watching my son and really enjoying watching him grow and learn and do the moves. And if he messed up, I'd see his reaction. And if he did well and he got excited, he'd look at me. And it was great watching him. But I'd look around and I'd say 9 out of 10 parents, majority of the class, they just sat there on their phone, just didn't even look at the kid. And I remember one specific event where this kid, he did something really well, and the instructor said, "Nice job." And he smiled and he got all happy and he looked at his mommy excited, and then he just put it down because his mom wasn't looking at him. Mm-hmm. And I just feel so bad for both the kid, but also the parents who are missing that moment. That parent has no clue that moment happened. Yeah. And it's just gone. And I'm not saying, oh, those parents are bad, because I know I was fighting the urge to take out my phone. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm watching them, and then the second there's something that's slightly boring, mm-hmm. It's the natural inclination, just pull out your phone. Mm-hmm. Even if you have nothing that you want to do, you just pull it out. There's something to do. And it's so pervasive in our lives, and I think we're so addicted to the phone that, I don't know, I mean, some of us realize it, but I feel like a lot of people are just addicted. They don't realize how addicted they are.
It's really sad. I mean, what is it that's making us? Because I even notice, if I have 5 minutes or 10 minutes, I'm waiting somewhere or something.
Yeah,
it's like I feel like if I don't grab my phone and start looking at something, I'm going to get fidgetier.
Yeah, I mean, you asked a question, what is it? But then I also wanted to talk about, so remind me if I forget. Yeah. It's fleeting. You asked why is it, and then I wanted to talk about boredom. Okay, boredom, okay. And how it's good to be bored. Okay. So I think what it is it's almost like endless possibilities. Like you pull it out and you can search anything on the internet.
Is it though? When I look at my phone, I'm usually bored. I'm usually I don't feel expanded.
It's endless possibilities, but we just default to the normal junk. Yeah. There's endless possibilities. I can look up on the internet anything, and then what do I default to? I mean, I don't want to name specific things, but I default to the same app or the same website. Yeah. Just scrolling through nonsense. Which I mean, sometimes I'm good and I will look up things for work, or I'll look up new I'm a programmer, so I'll look up new documentation, mm-hmm. or documentation for languages that I want to get better at. Mm-hmm. So sometimes it is beneficial, but a lot of it is just time wasting.
I don't know if it is. I mean, I think it's just possibility. I think people are trying to distract, because I think people are in pain and they don't know it. Or dissatisfied and they don't know it, and they're just trying to distract because they don't know what other possibilities there are. It's
well, you do have a point, because I do feel, and I feel this with myself too. It's often where if I just sit and there's no stimulus, mm-hmm. sometimes I'll feel at peace, and sometimes I'll feel antsy. And I noticed a lot of times if I feel antsy, it's because there are things overhanging my head. There's a work issue I'm trying to work on, or a programming problem, or there's, maybe I had done something, maybe I was short with someone and wasn't nice to them and I hadn't apologized yet. There's stuff that's overhanging that I haven't resolved. So I think you're right. There are a lot of people that are not at peace, and they can't just sit, and they have to feel something. So I think that is part of it. I also think that we are addicted to stimulus. Like even I tried this, I think last year, maybe 2 years ago, but I tried driving without turning on the radio and without touching my phone. So, and I noticed that I'd start driving, I'm like, all right, I'm leaving the radio off, not touching my phone. I'd start driving, and literally 5 seconds later, I'll turn, I'm like, no, and I'll shut the radio off. And then another 10 seconds will drive by, and I'll turn the radio on. It's just, it's almost like it's just ingrained in me. I need stimulus. And so now we need music on, we need visual stimulus, we need like.
I was a psychology major, so that reminds me of all the studies I read about, like the rats in the cages, like hitting the button until they die.
That's sad. I know. They do. They like starve themselves pressing buttons.
I think for you and me, growing up in the 80s and 90s before internet, it's strange. The world is very strange right now.
It's weird. And I feel like I'm kind of in the middle where on both sides. One, I lived life before and after the internet, but also I feel like I'm in the middle in that it's almost like
it's the old world and the new world.
It's the old world and the new world, but even for other things like the addiction I just talked about, I'm in the middle where I am addicted. Like I do bring my phone into the toilet.
But you're aware.
But I'm aware of it, and I also try not to. Like there are times when I leave my phone not in the toilet. So I'm like in the middle of like being an addict and not being an addict, or like it's almost like I'm on the verge where if I wasn't consciously struggling and stopping myself, I would just be on my phone. Like I'd be in the bathroom for an hour just on my phone doing nothing. So it's
I feel like it feels like a little bit of a responsibility being from our generation, because it's almost like we have to try to not let some of these old things go. Like we have to try to maintain certain aspects of humanity that, like, I don't know, it feels challenging for me.
Yeah, I do feel like we're trying to preserve some resemblance of a life or a past that is slipping away.
Like there's certain aspects of society and humanity that are important. And I just feel like we have that experience in us from growing up that the kids today don't. And it's like, it just feels challenging, but I don't know.
It does.
So what were you going to say about boredom?
Oh, thank you for reminding me. So I think it's really important for us to actually be bored. And I look at it as, there are processes that your computer does during downtime. So if you're not running any programs, your computer will start something up. It'll start Defrag is a common one that it'll rearrange information on the hard drive so it's easier to access and more organized. And I have no scientific basis behind what I'm about to say, but it's just something that I just feel is true. I feel like our minds do that. And I feel like when we're bored, we think through things. We think through issues. We think about to-do lists. And I feel like we need that time. We need bored time. So even we daydream. We think of new possibilities in the future. We think about the past. It's like we're like defragging our hard drive. We're working through processing things, and we don't get that anymore. And like my wife will say to me, I'll be like, let's just drive without the music. Let's just try it. Let's just sit in peace. She's like, I can't. My mind is racing. I was like, the reason your mind is racing is because you never have that downtime to let your mind just go through. Let your mind process all the thoughts that it needs to work out. And she doesn't like it because it's uncomfortable. I understand it. So she just turns the music on or picks up her phone or something. And all that does is it's like there's a huge backlog of information that needs to be processed. And it's stressful.
Well, not just even thoughts, but just emotionally and like physically. Like watching TV is not downtime mentally. It's a stimulus. It's stimulating. Like entertainment. People when they relax at night, they get tired from the work day and they want to relax. Watching TV is stimulating. It's not allowing that processing that you're talking about.
It's funny you said that because the other day, I don't know what day it was, but I wasn't really feeling well, and I wanted to just relax. So now, usually when I just want to relax, I'm guilty of it too. I lay down and watch TV. And you're right. After watching, if I'm tired and I want to lay down and relax, I lay down, watch an hour of TV, and afterwards, I don't feel any more refreshed.
I usually feel more tired and more crappy.
More tired, more crappy, more like brain, like,
sluggish,
But this time, I wasn't really feeling well. I was feeling almost so bad that I didn't even turn on the TV. I almost felt too bad to watch TV. So I didn't turn the TV on. I laid down in bed. And I just like laid there, and I was kind of like drifting in and out of sleep, and just, and then after an hour or so, I woke up, and I really felt refreshed.
Yeah,
like it's just so different. So, actually, that's another point. The TV is very similar to the phones. It's a screen that we look at. And another thing is too, if we add up all of the hours that we spend on our phone or on TV, and I'm not talking about productive stuff. So we're just talking about the time wasted. It probably, I know I have the digital well-being on my phone, and I looked at it, and like sometimes it's, on a good day it'll be low, like say 50 minutes wasted, which I say low, but that's a lot. If you think 50 minutes every day wasted, some days, I remember it was up to 4 hours at sometimes. It's horrible. Like I look at it, I'm like, what did I do for 4 hours today on my phone?
Yeah.
Maybe 30 minutes of it was actually productive, like I'm talking to somebody on the phone, but a lot of it was just surfing nonsense.
Yeah.
And if you think, let's just take a low average. Let's say the average person spends 2 hours on their phone wasting, which I think is low. I don't have statistics to back it up, but I think the average person watches, I think I read sometime it was like 4 or 5 hours of TV. So that alone, but if we add in the phone, then it's horrible. But
well, I don't want to judge because
you're right.
Society is the way it is for a reason.
Well, also, I just said I spent 4 hours on my phone too, so it's not like I'm better.
Like I think people don't necessarily have the options or know how to, do things differently.
Yeah, I'm not trying to judge them but let's just take a low average, 2 hours. Could you imagine? And let's just not even do 7 days a week. Let's do 5 days a week. 2 hours every day for 5 days a week. 10 hours a week. Now imagine someone who takes a class, right? They take piano lessons 3 days a week for an hour, right? That's 3 hours a week, right? 10 hours a week is 3 times that. That means they could do 3 times 3 hour-long piano classes a week.
Yeah.
Every week. Imagine in a year how good they will be at the piano.
Yeah.
And it's like, and I look back and I think of all the time I've wasted.
Yeah.
It's wasted life. It's.
Well, I know for me personally, like in the evening, if I want to relax or I can't just like sit there and stare at a wall. Like, the time that I usually feel like I can process is when I go for walks and I'll go for a walk in nature. Yeah. And I'll notice like I'll be really heady and I'll be thinking about things and stuff and not really seeing the trees or hearing the birds or like I'm not really aware of the nature around me. And then when I notice that, I'll start to, notice the smells and the sounds and the view and like I feel like I can have that, but I don't know, like at home or I don't know, like what. So I guess let's go into some of the solutions.
That's true. Because we only have 5 minutes left.
Yeah. Like, what is the solution to what we're saying?
I don't know because like I said, I try really hard. Let's see some things that might have worked for me. One thing I did is I saw my son, who's 8 right now. He took one day. He was like in the bathroom pooping for a long time. And I was like, what is he doing? So I went in there and he had my iPad or my wife's iPad. And I was like, no, no, I do not want
little rascal.
But I'm not gonna blame him. He sees me and my wife do it all the time. So I was like, no, I have to set a better example. So I said to him, I was like, nope, that's it. You're not gonna see me on the toilet with my phone anymore. And then it was really good for probably a month. I didn't bring it in once. And then after I kind of like, there was a couple times where I was like, oh, well, I have to do this or, I have to respond to a text message and I'm late and I'm pooping. So I'm like, so I said to myself, rationalization. I said, oh, I'm not going to waste time. I'm going to, save time by texting the person back while I'm pooping. Right.
Yeah.
So, and maybe that one time it was true. I actually did. But then that almost opened the door. And then the
Yeah.
next time I sat down and I did the same thing. But then
Yeah.
after I finished the text, I'll surf something until I'm done pooping, and
Yeah.
I'll make sure not to prolong it. And then after like a week, I was back to just wasting time on the toilet. But then what was good is my son kept coming in and be like, "Give me your phone." So
we have to have certain boundaries for ourselves, like with technology. You know, people have talked about setting periods of time in evenings with no technology or whatever. But we need certain boundaries or disciplines in our life with everything, with how we eat, with what we engage in, behaviors. Like we need to, if we blur the line like that,
that's the
it
problem.
just keeps slipping. Like we need to have certain things that we don't, like I have certain parameters for my life that I don't cross.
Yeah.
Like these are in place. I've been disciplined about it for long enough, and I know that if I start to slip, then that's it. And we need to find, I guess, individually where that is, because it's different for every person. We all have our own challenges in our lives and everything. But you had mentioned, when you'd mentioned your son, I thought you were going to talk about how children can help us have that kind of downtime. Like I thought about pets, because another time when I feel kind of like disengaged from needing stimulus is like just petting an animal, or like animals are just present. They don't have the heady stuff that human beings have. So when you actually pay attention to and spend some time with the pet, that does it. And I think kids as well, but kind of before they kind of get sucked into the crap that we are involved in, they are just present, and they're just in the moment. They want to discover, and if we can, rather than pulling them into our headiness, if we could give them more attention and observe them and learn from them, I think that's a great tool as well.
I think you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Both, I know spending time with my animals, especially my dogs, it feels so good, like laying and petting them.
Yeah.
And my son, I mean, playing with him, like there were a couple times, usually my mind's running on, I gotta do this for work, I gotta do this, so I'm like half playing with him. I'm like thinking about other stuff. I'm like, okay, we're playing, but I'm not actually like into it, immersed.
Yeah.
But there have been a few times where I actually got into the game that we were playing. Like we were playing with these magnet tiles and Legos, and he was like driving spaceships and building this, and I actually forgot. It's almost like when you're watching a movie or reading a book and you get lost into the book. I actually got into the game, and it was great. It was so much fun. We had a blast. We played for like an hour and a half just building Legos and stuff, and I got to have to do more of that.
Definitely.
I like these talks, honestly.
Yeah.
Because then I go home and I try to be a better person. I'll go home and I'll try to spend time with Jacob, and I'll try to take care of myself, my family, my life better.
That's the point of the show, is to stimulate ourselves and others to be better.
It's funny because when we started it, I wanted to help others.
Yeah.
Well, we had wanted to help others.
Yeah.
But I'm actually getting the benefit myself.
Yeah. Well, I had a teacher once who said, "What you give away, you get to keep." So
that's good. That's true.
That's true in many, like with love. Like the more love you give, the more love you have in your life. And, So.
Well, we only have 30 seconds left. Any last?
I mean, I think it's really important. I think it's really important that we maintain like aspects of our humanity and pre-technological aspects of society. I'm not saying we should not have any tech, but I think we need to have a balance. And I guess it's new enough, so maybe we haven't found that balance yet as a society, but I'm hoping we will.
I agree.
So.
All right, well, hopefully the camera didn't shut off yet. Let's say goodbye.
All right, take care, guys.
See you next week.